All right, welcome in everyone. We are live. It is BTB Analytics. We are talking NFL Week 8. As always, it's Kevin, Seth, and Steve back in the saddle collectively with you. Got a lot of good matchups to break down, model predictions, NFL landscapes, off the numbers. You know the drill. Let's get into it.
Give a damn about a hater when I feel like it. Not today, not today, not today, not tomorrow. Get out my way, please. I'm trying to get paid. Not today.
All right, boys. NFL Week 8. Crazy times. We got a lot of good matchups to break down. Luckily, there are some good ones, in my opinion, this week. It's kind of hit or miss in the NFL, but let's not waste any time. We got to break down some of these games. First up on the slate, Thursday night football. How about it? Minnesota Vikings going up against the Los Angeles Rams. We make this number a pick 'em. This opened at 3, basically. So slight lean to the Rams. Not enough for us to play it yet, but this one. Yeah, this one is interesting. That Minnesota and Detroit game this past week was just a very good game. And yeah, Lions were able to obviously pull out the win. And then we were on Rams last week as well against the Raiders. They covered, shout out. But yeah, Minnesota only Rams only catching 3 points against this team. So Seth, what is it in your opinion that is keeping this game maybe as close as it is? Because I don't know if it's a potential look ahead to an injury situation. Is Cooper Kupp going to be back? Is Nakua eligible to come back yet? I'm not sure about that.
I don't think so. I think it's only Kupp that can play in this game.
Okay,
yeah, just slated to play in this game.
Yeah. So Minnesota's been generally rolling with Sam Darnold behind the helm. So what do you digesting with this matchup here?
Yeah, but when you look at the numbers and pull back the kind of curtain there, you're seeing LA right now is the 22nd pass efficient team, but 10th rushing offense. Minnesota 11th passing the ball, 24th rushing. So these kind of teams are yin and yang there, but they're actually quite similar. And when we look at quarterback play, they're actually playing very similar. We're looking at the 13th overall EPA quarterback in Matt Stafford and the 14th with Sam Darnold. So you're getting a lot of parity there. Their echo rates are quite similar, 17th for LA, 18th for Minnesota. So they're actually quite similar on a per play basis. Specifically on offense. And I think that's really what you're picking up here. Obviously, a pick 'em. If you can get a 3, it's not a bad bet. It doesn't quite meet the threshold for us. But I think getting that addition back for LA and Kupp is going to be maybe the difference here. And LA's pass game is been affected by having no Puka and obviously no Kupp. So I wouldn't be shocked if you get a bump there. Yeah, I wish we could get a 3.5, but the reality is so does the rest of the market.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Steve, let me bring you in here, man. Yeah, you were on the Vikings last week on your off the numbers that didn't pan out. Spoiler alert, I'm on them. I'm gonna say fade in the model. I mean, we show a little bit of value on the Rams, but kind of on the opposite side of it. But yeah, what is your assessment of where both these teams are, and then how the market is digesting it so far?
Yeah, I mean, at face value, this looks absolutely gross. This is why you do the data. This is why you do the model. That Seth always says, because this as a model prediction, as a pick 'em, to the eye test, my first thought was no way in hell, right? But then you look at this Minnesota team, they really have been regressing offensively over the last few weeks, down to 19th in EPA per play over that time frame. And then also Sam Darnold, right? I mean, he was the talk of the town, him and Derek Carr, to open up the season, and now he's down to 23rd in terms of his QB rating, per PFF. So there is a clear and obvious kind of trajectory. Now, again, it's only been a few games. Let's not overreact. But part of me wonders, is that sort of the same thing we saw with New Orleans, where it just kind of slowly trickled down after that scorching hot start, and how much of this was actually sustainable? Now, obviously, that one's a little bit different because Carr got hurt, but I do think there's some similarities, unfortunately, here. So as gross as it feels, I guess I do understand how the Rams would be in a sneaky kind of buy spot here. Yeah, and like Steph said, I think 3.5 would be great, but at 2.5 showing a little bit of value, I kind of agree with it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, I'll kind of spoiler alert, kind of my thought process on this one, for ahead of off the numbers. But yeah, offensively speaking, sure, they're not necessarily world beaters, but defensively, and this is where I've been impressed with them and where they've been measured to be quite impressive. Minnesota Vikings are a good defensive team, and in some cases, the top defensive team in the league. If my hope, I had a little hope injected, even though it's not a strategy, we know. I had hope when thinking about the off the numbers situation that Cooper Cup was not going to be
Yeah.
ready to play yet. And that being the presumption, again, Minnesota Vikings leading the league in EPA per play allowed, number 2 in success rates. They're number 1 in EPA per rush allowed, and that's one of LA's strengths. So this just felt like a strength on strength situation, and I guess through this point, granted they've dealt with a lot of injuries, I trust the Minnesota offense a little more than I do the LA Rams offense. So that's kind of my thought process with it. Again, the market's coin flip game here. We make it a pick 'em, so it should be in theory, it should be a close one. We'll see how it all shapes up. But
I think this is the worst game for your thesis. I think everything's true except for this is the one player quarterback combo I don't think you want to see. I think everything you just said would be true, except you're getting cut back and he's going to be able to get the ball out fast. And I think that's the one way you can beat Flores in the blitz. And who's maybe there's a handful of quarterback receiver combinations that you're going to be able to get the ball out super fast. And I think this is one of them. And I think you're going to see some success there. I mean, to be honest, our database has Minnesota as the 4th overall defense. So we're modeling out that this is a good defense.
Right. Yeah, and how could you not? So, okay, we'll see. It should be one of the few good Thursday night games, that the NFL sees.
Yeah, I agree with that. This game is going to be good. At least I hope. It looks good on paper for sure.
At least I hope. Yeah, hope is a strategy in this case. We can just hope for good games.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Sunday slate. You got a few good ones. Let's start with a divisional matchup. The Indianapolis Colts going up against the Houston Texans. Full disclosure, we are on this one. We're on Texans -6. I don't know if there are any more 105s available. We got the -6, -105, but 110 is
well, it looks like
110 is still good as if you can
5.5s. The market's selling what we're buying.
Market is selling what we're buying. Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time, unfortunately, but okay. Then to that point, Seth, why early on, we're still early in the week, why do you think that might be the case?
Yeah, because I think some of these numbers are a bit misleading. Houston, 17th passing offense, 28th rushing offense. Indy, 24th against the pass, 8th against the rush. So we're looking for Indy to, shut down the rushing attack there for Houston. On the other side, Indy, 13th passing the ball, 23rd rushing the ball. Houston, their defense has really stepped up this season, 8th against the pass, 11th against the rush. The thing I think the market is wrong about on this is those numbers are inflated. You got Flacco numbers in there, baby. And Flacco has been running this team. Quite frankly, I think they should move back to Flacco, but they're not. They're going full speed ahead with Richardson. I think it's a mistake personally, specifically against this defense. I think this is also a spot where we can see Stroud step up a bit. Like I said, the Houston pass offense right now, 17th, going up against the 24th pass offense in Indy. I think that Stroud has had a lot of success against Indianapolis. I wouldn't be surprised if he has more success here. The big difference here on echo rate for defense, Houston, 3rd best echo rate, Indy, 16th best echo rate. Again, offensively, these teams look somewhat similar. Houston, this is the 16th best echo rate offense. Indy is the 20th, but those are Flacco numbers. I don't know we're going to get the same out of Richardson. In fact, we forecast you're not going to. You're going to get worse numbers.
I have a quick question. I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, so sorry to put you on the spot, Seth, but is Anthony Richardson still a rookie in our database?
Yes, I'm 99% sure, but I can get the answer for us.
Oh my gosh, seconds. That shit's crazy. Yeah, wow. Okay, so to that point, also though, he is confirmed back in this week, and our numbers assume Richardson.
Yeah, they assume Richardson.
Okay,
this is in Houston. Stroud in his small sample has a really potent split. He in his short career, he's played much better at home. Yeah. Anthony Richardson only had 3 away starts.
Oh my God. When maybe next year he'll cross the threshold. And
now the interesting thing here is, peel back the curtain here is, we look at the assumptions the model's making, and if you pull back the rookie assumption and you just let the model see all available data for the quarterback, so there's no rookie category. You just are who you are. In that sample, we make the number 5. Now, if the true number that we make it with, putting our rookie assumption on, we make the number 11. So that's how we ended up at 8. A little bit of conflicting there, but we have, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds here because it doesn't really make for good podcasting. But long story short, there's a reason that we feel comfortable doing that, and we have seen in the past that you want to treat rookies like rookies for a certain amount of time, and then not after that, and you don't really want to delineate the two.
Yeah.
Or you want to delineate the two, rather.
Yeah. Well, hopefully one of these days he stops playing like a rookie too, and actually does. I mean, he's just crazy high variance all the time. Like he's boom or bust.
Well, I hope it's not this week.
Yeah, I hope it's a bust weekend for sure. Yeah, agreed. So, yeah, I mean, it should be. I mean, him coming back, he's been out a couple of weeks. I don't know how many weeks he's been out, but
he played last week.
What? Richardson?
Okay. Yeah.
Damn. All right. I was drunk last weekend. Sorry.
It's okay. Go Vols.
Yeah, go Vols, baby. All right, that'll do it. So good divisional matchup here. In what?
Yeah, but we've seen this matchup already, right? And I guess that's my thing. This was the opening game. Their opening game, Colts versus Texans, and Richardson played Stroud,
right?
And the Texans came out of that. And for me, it's one of those things where, and I agree with Seth's point here, like you have Joe Flacco numbers, and those are Joe Flacco numbers that are significantly better passing than Anthony Richardson numbers are. And you look at just his QBR, Richardson is all over the place, plus his interceptions. I mean, 6 interceptions already without the games he's already missed. You know what I mean? So you're introducing, a run component that you have that you don't quite have with Flacco, but that's not nearly as good of a trade-off as what you get through the air, both passing efficiency and stability with Flacco. So, I kind of sneakily love, not even sneakily, I outright love this pick here. So, yeah.
How much do we remember how much? Yeah, the Colts ended up losing by 2 in that game. And the market closed at 3. So Colts covered that game. But the thing I think that's really important is that's a whole off season of training and knowing who you're going to play and what they're going to be looking at and what you're going to see. I mean, you're just the data, everything is just so confounded here. You have Flacco data injected in this team who wasn't even on the roster last year. You have an injury to Richardson, which we're not sure what that looks like. You have an injury to Mixon, which does that make the numbers look deflated for their running game? Because right now they're the 26th rushing attack for Houston. Mixon obviously is an upgrade there. Their offensive line has struggled, but then now is in, a lot of teams have. Huntley had a lot of success in that Miami game. Quite frankly, if he didn't go down, they probably would have won. So
no love for Richardson in the chat either. Our producer Eric says Anthony Richardson is the Cam Newton of Gardner Minshew's. I love those. I don't even know what that means, but I love it.
That's
and then Sal, shout out Sal, says Richardson's not an NFL QB. He's a career backup. I mean, damn, already writing the homie off. Hasn't even had 6 away starts.
He's not even a career starter. Like he's started 5 games in his whole career. Some crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. So
okay, college, man. Gators
should have stayed. Why not? Oh, he'd have been killing it. Yeah, definitely. Definitely Heisman. Oh, hell yeah. All right, it should be a good divisional matchup, part due for those two. Let's move on down the Sunday slate. Next up, we got Buffalo Bills going up against the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, this one hurts me.
This one hurts you.
Yeah.
All right, I couldn't even get anything off. Tell me why it hurts, baby. Where do you hurt?
Oh, I hurt because we didn't get to bet it. The 2.5 got bought up so quick that we couldn't. Now it's sitting at 3. I think this is long gone. And then you add the injury to DK. I think it's just like this is a gift. This is a gift, maybe still at 3. It just doesn't meet our threshold. The Bills are just like killing it offensively. Number 2 passing offense, 8th rushing offense. Now they took a step back defensively, but not all that much. We're looking at the 11th passing offense and the 14th rushing. Sorry, the 11th passing defense, 14th rushing defense. But in our database, their overall 15-game rolling average EPA is 10th. So they're kind of actually playing right about where we had them. So
sure.
Man, Seattle, they're doing okay. They're just like a mediocre team. And so if you get 2.5, like it's just golden.
Crazy value.
Yeah, it's just golden. Value. And like echo rate, quality drives, Seattle 19th, again, mediocre, median. Bills 6th. Defensively, Bills again are more in the middle, 17th, and Seattle's 13th. But I think offensively, these teams are tale of 2 different teams.
Yeah, Steve, how about that? How about that overrated quarterback that the Bills have, and Josh Allen? I mean, he's one of the co-favorites again to win the MVP at this point in the season. Only starter who has, I think, minimum of like 100 pass attempts and all that. Only one who hasn't thrown a pick yet. So Mr. High Variance, Mr. Turns the ball over too much is just absolutely shutting people up so far through 7 weeks of the season or so. So yeah, to Seth's point, they're playing really, really well, particularly on offense. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I
But
don't know
like
if this
they're
is a
playing
travel
well, and
game.
that's without Amari Cooper. Like we saw him in against the Titans, right? And like that's gonna be a new addition where they still need to have time for chemistry. They still need to have time for Amari to learn the playbook. And give me Keon Coleman, no disrespect. Keon Coleman is their number one, right? So
Right.
who even is that? So I mean, I think this is, and then I think that's really just a nod to how good Josh has been all year at distributing the ball both to receivers, to Knox and Kincaid, the tight end position. He's going to have another weapon. Like this is classic rich get richer. So yeah, I love this. I mean, I think this is one I'm probably going to sprinkle on, even though it is at the 3. Although, obviously to Steph's point, it's not a model play because of the EV standpoint, but like these numbers are only going to get better as time goes on, you would expect. So yeah, I love this versus Seattle, which I think is kind of the opposite way. They're losing players, they're losing steam. They were atop the NFC West, but I think you're kind of seeing them a la, New Orleans kind of come back down to earth after a pretty hot start. So I don't know. I feel pretty good about it.
Okay, yeah. Shout out Bills fan in the chat. Sal again says they don't do well traveling west. They struggle going west. So I don't know. Probably I don't know how many times do they actually travel west. Sal, that would be my counter question to you. Probably not a lot.
Yeah.
So small sample size.
I've heard this anecdote so much, man. I looked
Yeah.
into this. I don't want to say it's zero effect because obviously there is some travel effect, but it's not in our model. I've looked at it. I don't know. I'd be more convinced to be honest of the west to east.
Yeah.
Is more of an effect, but I don't know. Anecdotally, maybe Sal's on something. Again,
Yeah.
Sal, all this hype is really for a 2.5. So we're just living in the what if, because
Yes.
again, everything I just said is really just a slam dunk that you get to win on the field goal. After that, you're right. Like anything can happen. You got to win by more than a field goal.
Yep. For sure. So okay, but yeah, should be this should be a fun one though. I mean, I think Seahawks are technically first in the NFC West right now. I think they're 4-3. So NFC West has been real beat up, literally and metaphorically. So good barometer, I think, to see if the Seahawks are for real or not in this one. So
that's true. That's true.
Yep. All right. Early slates behind us now. I don't know what to think of this one, but we got to talk about it anyways. Sunday night football, boys. We're going Cowboys against the Niners. I don't even know who the hell Niners are going to be thrown out there on offense for the skill position. Like I saw a meme and it was true, but it's sad at the same time. It was like the Niners' healthiest wide receiver got shot in the chest like 2 months ago. Like, like crazy. So Debo might be back. He was out with the weird, illness, pneumonia thing. Ayuk obviously done. CMC still not back. So, man, people who are like the Shanahan truthers out there, are really gonna be put to the test this week. Just see what can happen. And to insert a bit of data or observation into this as well. Like the Cowboys defense is not good. They have not been good. So this is a much, again, beat up offensive team for San Francisco going up against in my opinion, underperforming Dallas defense. So what do we end up getting here? I'm glad we don't show any value on this really from either side, because this one just reeked to high hell for me. But yeah, Seth, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, this one is super interesting. I agree. Very, very complicated. So Dallas is the 23rd passing offense, 15th rushing offense. San Francisco, though, is good at stopping the pass. They're 10th, but then they're 26th stopping the rush. San Francisco's 7th best in pass offense, 13th best rushing offense. Dallas can't stop anything. 23rd passing defense, 32nd rushing defense, literally dead last. The thing that
by a wide margin too, actually, to be on that point, like almost twice as bad as the 31st ranked team, which is the Saints.
Yeah, which is wild. I mean, the thing how it stood out to me though, looking at the data, is though, although Dallas's offensive numbers aren't that impressive, they're actually 10th in echo rate. So like those numbers aren't impressive, but they're actually putting together pretty good drives, which is kind of a little bit counterintuitive. So you got to ask yourself, okay, are the EPA numbers the leading indicator and they're getting lucky on drives, or is the drive the leading indicator and we should see these EPA numbers catch up? And I don't really know the answer. The one other thing, I don't know why, it's classic media, I guess. Purdy seems to be just getting a ton of hate this week. I guess it must be the hate Purdy week. He's number one in our database the last 10 games. He's averaging 9 points added per game. So again, based off an average quarterback, he adds 9 points on top of that. That's number one in our database. I do have to say, from an injury standpoint, I think unfortunately you have to take the +5. When talking about so much unknown, you talked about who are they going to put on their field. We know that although Dallas is bad stopping the run, they have injuries at running back for San Francisco. So what are you actually getting there? You're to lay the 5, you have to have a lot of faith, and I'm not sure what you're faithful in. Maybe Kittle having a good game. Their rookie coming out and having a really big game. I'm not sure. I don't think you're going to see Debo. That's a basically, pneumonia. He was in the hospital. There's, in my mind, no chance he plays in this game. And then Ayuk now out with an ACL. Like, I mean, that's a big hit to this offense, all to deal with in 1 week.
Yeah, and to your point, and I want to bring you in, Steve, too. Is this open at 5 and is been bought down a point? There's pretty much 4 is now available in the market. So some early buying towards Dallas. But yeah, Steve, I mean, how much worse does it or can it get for San Francisco in this one?
Yeah, sure, it can always get worse, but how much worse can it get for Dallas? And I mean that not like, oh, this is the bottom. I think we've still yet to see the bottom for Dallas, and it's been really, really bad. I just don't know how you trust them. And now I'm trying not to overreact to one game, right? We all know that they got kind of shellacked by the Lions, and they had a pretty good win against the Cowboys, against the Steelers. But one of the things, and I don't know the answer to this question, Seth, you brought up a good point, about how they're getting to and finishing drives. I wonder how much of that is in the late stages of the game, the garbage times, right? We saw them come back, put up 19 points against, was that Baltimore? They played Baltimore. They put up 14 to 4 against Pittsburgh. They seem to be like a strong second half team, and I'm just wondering how much of that is there versus throughout the game. Because to your point, yes, obviously San Francisco's gonna be a lot without a lot in the passing game and whatnot, but Jordan Mason's going to be back completely healthy for San Francisco. We know they can manufacture ways between him and Cal Juszczyk to get the ball on the ground into the end zone. So I still think there's a category or a pathway here for victory. Now, to be fair, 4 or 5, yeah, sure, that might be a lot, but I just don't know if there's a lot from Dallas to make me think otherwise. Especially when you've just seen them struggle week in and week out for the most part. So for me, it's a stay away game, but I'm just in a fade Dallas mode. Maybe just me being a hater, but I just can't see the confidence there. But to your point, two unknowns, 5 is a lot of points to take. To your point.
Yeah. I can get the fade, but you have to fade them with something, and you don't know what you're fading them with. So I to me, it's God bless. Lay it if you want.
Sometimes a good bet is the one you don't make, or the ones you have zero, low confidence in, right? You don't, just because the game's happening, boys and girls, you don't need action on it.
But to be honest, when you're saying, Steve, you don't know you're buying, I mean, or you don't know if this is the bottom. I mean, what when we're not talking injuries, why do we think like it'll just keep getting worse? I mean, we just have the one game that's like super egregious against arguably one of the best offenses in the league.
You mean for Dallas?
Yeah. Like why do we think it'll just keep getting worse? And then why do we think San Francisco is the ones to do it?
Well, first and foremost, I don't think that. So when we go back and look and see what Dallas has done this year, I mean, obviously they came in here with a Super Bowl or bust expectations, but this was supposed to be the year where Dak finally had no excuses. Everything was going to go this way, and we've seen more of the same. I just don't know what you're going to get out of Dallas to make it any better. And then at some point, and this is kind of me just ripping for the podcast, but a lot of these come into the tangibles. At what point do you lose a locker room? At what point do you become eliminated mathematically from legitimate playoff contentions? Things like that, especially when you see a Washington team come in here and leading the NFC East when it was supposed to be your year. I just don't think Dak's the answer. I think at some point you're going to get the frustration grow louder and louder. And what point does that come into like what we've seen with somebody like the Jets, where frustration kind of boils over? You need a scapegoat somehow, I don't know if you can't bench Dak because you paid him all that money. So do you start looking elsewhere for answers and scapegoats? I have no reason to believe in Dallas meeting their own expectations, let alone the ones that everyone else has put on them. And I think who we've seen is what we're going to get for the rest of the season. And I don't think that bodes well for a Jerry Jones team.
Hashtag fire Mike McCarthy. It's trending already. I can see it.
This is not the game. This is not the game to lay 5.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Fair enough. But it's, yeah, stay away in my brain and in my wallet. So I'm happy with that personally. So, all right. Sunday slate in the books as far as marquee matchups go. We got one left to talk about, then we'll get into some landscape, off the numbers, and model predictions, boys. So appreciate everyone being here or tuning into the video after the fact. Please don't forget to like the video, hit the channel with a subscribe, helps us out tremendously. Let us know in the comments too what you think of any and all these matchups, what you think of our opinions of these games. Are they right? Are they wrong? From a fan perspective, we got to hear it. We want to know it. So let us know in the comments too. Next up, though, we got to go to Monday Night Football. Okay. Giants and the Steelers. Now, I don't want to talk about overreact on one of the other games. I forget already. But, one game of Russell Wilson now in the books. And he outperformed expectations, both in terms of the market's perspective, like where all of his prop lines were. Like he played well, frankly. He had, a little bit of rust, whatever, but he played well. So we show some value on this one. We make the number 7, not enough for us to play it. The market was at 6, so not quite our 4% threshold for it to be a play. But okay, Seth, correct. I mean, tell me how. I was flirting with this one for off the numbers. I was like, I actually want to just kind of actually hammer the Steelers on this one.
Steelers?
But yeah. So from what you've seen parsing out the data and how we think about this game, is that on the right track? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, the Giants are like pretty interesting because I don't think going into the season, I think there was a lot of hope this offense would be better than they are. But I don't remember their defense like standing out as this team that was going to be, super, super good. It turned out that neither of them are all that good. Right now, the passing offense for the Giants, 24th in the NFL, rushing 27th, defensively 20th, stopping the pass, 20th, stopping the rush. The big thing that I think, if you want to be a Pittsburgh backer, is just the quality of drives you're getting offensively. About 50% of the Pittsburgh drives are going to be resulting in getting the 40 or better. The Giants, 38% of their drives, which is 27th in the NFL. So this is yeah, exactly. Now the defensive equal rate for the Giants is 7th. They're doing fairly okay on a drive basis. Pittsburgh is 4th though, so I think that they definitely take the nod, and you're going to think they're going to slow down an already slowed offense. Now you're going to get Neighbors back. I think that's a big deal. The one thing I would point out is when we look at Pittsburgh's offensive numbers, 9th passing the ball, 18th rushing the ball, those numbers are going to be different with Russell. Now, they might be better passing the ball, but I think you're going to go see a decline in your rushing efficiency. We'll see. I think if Russ has showed us anything, I think you're going to have to be better than just for one game for me to believe that you're not not who you were. In our database for the last 10 games, he's the worst quarterback.
Chef's kiss. I got to ask you, Steve, if there is anyone of the three of us, you are the Justin Fields truther here. So having Mike Tomlin having made that decision that he did, one, like, do you think that's going to benefit them in the long run? And two, how does that track? Like, is their offense, are they going to have a, all of a sudden this crazy high, maybe not crazy high, but pass rate over expectation? Are they going to be more of a passing centric offense now? Or what is what's the assessment now with Russell instead of Fields behind center?
I mean, I think that's what they're going to have to be. And I don't know if it's going to pan out or not. And I'm not saying I don't know, as I don't think it is. I just truly don't know. But one of Fields' biggest knock throughout his whole career is he holds on to the ball too long and he doesn't make quick enough decisions. Something you'd expect to get with Russ, a seasoned veteran who's done this, year in, year out. So it's going to have to be the thing that they have there, because they take away the dynamic from Justin being a running quarterback, a running threat, getting touchdowns essentially game in and game out on his feet, and then making the throws when he needs to. So they should shift that way. Will it pan out? time will tell, but he definitely did look good in that one game. I think it's one of those things that you got to look at it. You know, they brought Russ there for a reason. We all know what happened in Denver last year and how unceremoniously that kind of ended. But he was supposed to be the starter. It was supposed to be his year there, and I think Tomlin is just kind of honoring his word. At 4-2 is it the right time to do it? I don't think so. I think that's kind of crazy, but that's why I don't get paid the big bucks to be the coach there. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what this team looks like, because if they can improve on their offensive passing EPA, this team does have a reason to be feared. If they keep doing what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball, we've seen Pickens absolutely destroy teams. So if you can get Russ ability to give him the ball even more consistently throughout the game, that's scary in my mind. It is.
I want to make sure this isn't revisionist history, because Jonesy made the comment, people forget that Russ was slated to be the starter. Is that true? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, well, they got
huge
100%.
Yeah, they got Russ
Pittsburgh.
before. Sorry, go
Jonesy,
ahead.
I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just
go
clarification of my own brain.
Oh yeah, no. I was just saying they got Russ before they got Fields, because Fields was part of the trade package. So we didn't know if we're going to keep the number 1 pick or trade it off and keep Fields. So that already been a done deal. So he was for sure supposed to be the starter.
And I can tell you this, I'll one up you, Jonesy. We ran the model on May 12th when the market opened for week 1, and this at that point, just like Steve said, Justin Fields wasn't even there. Russell was the starter, and we liked Pittsburgh week 1. We were on them week 1, and then we got caught with these tickets that we didn't like anymore because Fields was the starter. Obviously, he ended up covering, and we ended up making it out alive. But we don't forget. And the model doesn't forget either. The model is making this is the number 7 with Russ and all of his poor data. Like I said, it's got him as the 32nd ranked EPA in his last 10. Obviously, we also incorporate his career data, and in his career, he's a much better quarterback. But in that last 10 games, other than the last literal 1 game, he has struggled.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, our producer, 31 sacks allowed for New York this season. I presume 31 sacks allowed is what you meant. Which is no, number 1. They lead in sacks. Oh, I was mistaken. Okay, interesting. Yeah,
defensively, these teams are interesting. Which kind of you'd prefer to have, I guess, Fields in for this kind of game so you can escape those, but. Again, Russ is a veteran quarterback. If they can figure out, I think it's hard for us to even imagine a Pittsburgh passing offense that is super efficient. But if they think he can do that, he can get the ball out fast. They can utilize Pickens in a very different way. Then there is a pathway to avoiding those sacks. It's just we haven't seen Pittsburgh do it, and we haven't seen Russ do it in a long time.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm kind of kicking myself for. I felt like cheating though if I had picked this for my off the numbers, but or just because it was almost value. But anyway, I really like the Steelers in this one. So all right, that weird could be a weird Monday night game. Not gonna lie. But yeah, that'll do it for the matchups for NFL Week 8. Should be some good ones though. But let's hit zoom out now. Let's take a look at the NFL landscape, shall we? Through week 8. This would be way better on TikTok. This whole thing, EKC, shut up. All right, well, we'll look into it. We're kind of in trouble on TikTok a little bit, so
I can assure you we won't look into this. TikTok, boo.
Yeah, we're a little bit of trouble with the live situation, but anyway, let's zoom out here. So NFL landscape through week 8. Okay, I guess if there's one team, Steve, that you had to choose, who's going to be on the up and up, or is on the up and up, in your opinion, who is it and why?
I mean, come on, man. Don't make me do this. I'm going to be biased. I'm not going to be objective in this assessment whatsoever. It's going to be the Bears. It's going to be the Bears at 4-2. This is a team that was supposed to struggle. It's a team that, another example of thrusting in a rookie quarterback who wasn't ready to be in the spotlight, a la Bryce Young, a la potentially Drake May. And he's just thriving. It looked really, really rough to start the year off. And it was. But like we talked about with Fields, Caleb's best asset is, he can run the ball, but he also can make quick decisions. Now, they aren't always the right decisions, but he's learning that, and the offensive system is definitely now kind of gelling more with him. making more of the right plays. And you see this a surrounding of weapons with them at the receiver and running back level. It's just making his job easy. And then, oh yeah, let's not forget that Bears defense. We've gone back to the monsters of the mid 80s, the early 2000s, staunch defense. So we don't need Caleb to be otherworldly. We just need him to not lose the games. And I think that's a great spot to be in. So yeah, I love the Bears and their ceiling. And then on the flip side, I talk about kind of in all seriousness, how much worse can it get? The Saints, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of saw what this team looked like to begin the year with Derek Carr, and then kind of the slow decline with him still in there, and then now looking at Carr being out and Spencer Rattler being in there. That team looks like a dumpster fire. And then the last thing is I'm just curious to see what happens with the Buccaneers, and I'll save that for my my off the numbers.
Okay. What about you, Seth? Anyone which team, I mean, for one reason or another, do you think is over and or underperforming?
Oof. Overperforming. That's tough. Washington is like the answer to both those questions.
Yeah.
Washington's offense is overperforming and their defense is underperforming, and basically about who we thought that they were or they're going to be. But I think Baltimore is probably the right answer for the overperforming. A lot of questions on who this team is going to be defensively, and I guess the answer is they're not going to be that good defensively. But man, is this offense better than they were last year? And the answer is yes. So, very dangerous team. Yeah, I don't know. The league, it's sad to see Belichick, but like Bill Belichick not in the league kind of like, I don't know, just sucks because it shouldn't be that way. And it's clear like how good of a coach he was. And it just sucks to see New England take a team that, probably has some potential and kind of running it into the ground pretty quickly. And the question becomes, is there any number like we're going to get to the point with Carolina, like, is it just like an auto bet against them?
Auto fade, huh?
Which shouldn't exist in the NFL, but I mean, you go back to Young now?
I haven't caught honestly too much of too many of their games since they benched him, but has it been just I mean, with the exception of that first game, has it been pretty much just as bad?
Yeah, it's been bad.
That's
I
really
think we've only bet against them one time.
Yeah.
In that little run, but
okay. Clearly systemic.
Yeah,
clearly a systemic, organizational issue. I'm not sure if you threw Mahomes back there, how much better they get. But the one, I mean, this is kind of cheating, but I think just the biggest possible ad that any team is going to get is Tua back to the Dolphins. Possibly this week. He's trending. He's practicing. I don't think he's officially gotten the medical clearance yet, but there's optimism that he's
the 23rd is the official date where he can
be cleared for full contact or whatever.
And like they have a 21-day period. So
right.
Our numbers, I ran it with Tua this week, and it looks like that's kind of like 90% what the assumption would be based off what I'm seeing.
Yeah. So that one for me, I mean, that obviously where they're charted, this is basically just a measurement graph here. Where they are charted at is not who this team is, frankly, with him behind center. So that one will be interesting to see how much more he can do. I was looking this up earlier. I thought he had way more concussions than he actually has had officially.
He's also say had or diagnosed.
Well, and also they just look, the ones that we've seen look really fucking catastrophic.
Right. Yeah. The severity is way higher. Yeah. No guarding cap either, says our producer, which I find fascinating. But
do we find that fascinating? This is like the most American thing ever. Like, I don't know the answers to this, but like, it's just like assumption, like, oh, let me slip this little thing over, and I just like, I can't even get a concussion anymore, and he's comparing like that to the extreme. Like, if you're slamming into a wall at full speed, can a guardian cap save you?
Some shit's gonna happen.
I don't think he's in a position to not try. But I get your point.
Should be a requirement, honestly. That's probably going to be a new CBA rule, I bet you, when next time it comes out. You come back from a concussion, you wear guardian caps.
Yeah, but I do have a question though. What do you guys think? Who has the higher ceiling that's not fair. Who's going to have the most dramatic turnaround because they both have really sucked so far. Are you more excited to have Tua back with the Dolphins, and I mean turn around like your chances of actually making the playoffs? That's kind of what I mean here.
Okay.
Tua making the Dolphins or come back to the Dolphins, or anybody but Deshaun leading the Browns, because we've kind of always said it's Deshaun's play has been what's been holding that team back. The defense had been great, but obviously with all the turnovers and leaving the ball out there, they've kind of taken a step back. And now, of course, Amari Cooper's gone. But are you more excited to be a Browns fan or a Dolphins fan?
I'll answer from one perspective. I think you're definitely more excited to be a Dolphins fan. The Browns have already kind of peeled back the curtain a little bit in terms of what they think is left of this season. They traded Amari Cooper. There's been rumors about Myles Garrett being on the trade block. So while Jameis Winston could be a short-term spark and like he's every favorite player's favorite player type of thing. Like everyone loves Jameis Winston, the character, right? So it'll be fun to have him out there and slinging it and then watch the memes unfold. But I think the Browns have kind of showed their hand a little bit. I don't think they're excited about this season anymore.
But they traded Amari before Deshaun got hurt. Does that change?
Even better. And
Yeah.
Njoku on the block, apparently, says our producer Eric. So who knows, man? They're selling the farm. Shit, why not?
Yeah, I don't think there's. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I think it's got to be Miami. Like, what are you happy about with Cleveland?
The possibility of not losing a game.
Is Joe Flacco like secretly a dickhead? Like what? Why?
Yeah,
why?
right.
Why? Like he got kicked out of the league. No one wanted to re-sign him. Then the Browns are like, all right, well, come on in. Slings the ball. Nothing. Goes to the Colts. Goes in, slinging the ball. They're like, sit your ass down. Like, what's going on?
Right.
Like, what does this guy have to do?
That's funny you say that. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Who knows?
When the NFL is literally predicated on winning. Everyone's like, yeah,
having competent quarterback play.
Yeah, but
all right,
go somewhere else.
Shout out. All right, speaking of going somewhere else, let's go to our next segment. We got off the numbers for week 8. All right, so again, for anyone just tuning in or not familiar, we have a model. We bet into the spread markets with it, data-driven process. This segment is where the three of us individually give you guys, the audience collectively, a play that we like, either using the model as a foundation, a piece of the puzzle, data point, or just maybe going off script a little bit and trying to talk through where we see value in the market. So let's talk through them real quick. Why not? So I'll go up first just because I kind of already discussed it. Not much more to discuss with mine. I'm on Vikings -3 this week. Again, a little bit of trying to be cute and prescient here, not necessarily assuming that Cooper Kupp is going to be back, or if he is, that he's going to be limited in snaps to where his impact is not maybe as significant as one might anticipate. Great defense on the Vikings side, and weird fluke shit on Thursday Night Football. So I like top to bottom, in my opinion, the better team.
What's your
Vikings -3?
What's your record?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I'm undefeated.
Yeah. Undefeated.
4-0. 4-0. So I'm on Vikings -3. So all right, you're up next, Seth, since you
I'm
poked
upset. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm I don't remember my record. I think I'm 1-3. So, take what I'm about to say with like a grain of salt and don't listen to me. I think the better play here is Seattle or is Buffalo -3, but I'm not going to do that one. I'm gonna fade Cleveland. Now, this quite frankly is the worst spot to fade Cleveland. They're going to get a new quarterback, which could spark some hope. They got Chubb back. They seem to really like him as a teammate. They were like cheering him on. He scored a touchdown last week. They're playing a division rival, but is there just too much chaos going on? And when it rains, it pours. I'm not sure. I'm going to go with the when it rains, it pours aspect. Give me Baltimore -9. Or there are, I think, maybe 8.5 you can get, but
yeah, only one 8.5, a little expensive.
Okay,
-112.
so -9.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm basically fading. I'm fading the quarterback move. I'm fading the Browns basically. I just hope I don't get a spark. I hope, because the one thing is like these teammates have been like kind of rallying around Deshaun, which I guess we'll find out if that was real or not.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Seth's on Ravens -9. All right, Steve, take us home.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the injury angle. I'm gonna roll with the kind of devastated locker room angle. I'm gonna take the Falcons -2.5. The Buccaneers
Mm.
game last night, game was way out of hand. No reason. I mean, listen, I get fighting for 60. I do appreciate a team, giving it their all, especially in the NFL. We don't see it all that often. But you already lost Mike Evans, so another hamstring injury, likely going to be out at least a few weeks. And then you get Chris Godwin having a catastrophic injury
Yeah,
in garbage time, in
terrible.
garbage time, effectively, right? I mean, you saw how distraught Baker was. Questions in the locker room about kind of why to go for it. This kind of reminds me of when Derrick Rose had the knee injury in the prime when Tips kind of ran to the ground and how it just sort of emotionally devastated that team. I see a shell shock period for the Buccaneers, so I'm going to take the Falcons in the divisional matchup to take advantage of that. Give me -2.5.
Okay. All right. Let's pull up the recap real quick here. I'm on Vikings -3, undefeated. No big deal. Small sample size, actually. Steve, you're on Falcons -2.5, 1-3, and Seth as well, 1-3 with Ravens -9 this week. So, all right, that's off the numbers for week 8. Now we go to the real deal, Lucille. Okay, model predictions for NFL week 8. An interesting slate, pretty much the antithesis of our college predictions. So in college, we had literally all dogs. Dogs better be barking, baby. But this week we're going with
Big
we got an
favorites.
all favorite slate. So yeah, Seth,
Yeah.
why don't you roll through what we got for week 8?
Yeah, so far heading into week 8 there, the model is 18-16, so just slightly above profit. You'll see some ones that we're not going to bet. We did not end up betting Saints, just due to too much injury unknown. We don't really know who's starting a quarterback. We don't know who's starting a wide receiver. They got a number of different issues, offensive line. So that's why we didn't bet that. And then we talked about it before. We didn't end up catching the 2.5 for the Bills, so we didn't bet it. So what we're betting for week 8 is Houston -6 at -105, Detroit -11 at -108, Green Bay -4.5 at -105, and Kansas City -9.5 at -110.
Okay. Yeah, I don't recall how often we hit an all dogs or an all favorites week in NFL. Probably not very often, but
Yeah, who knows?
yeah, of those ones, yeah, which one, if any, give you the warm and fuzzies, Steve?
Let's say that again. Which one gives
Which
me
one?
the warm
Yeah,
and
which one
fuzzies?
gives you the warm and fuzzies? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get crazy here, but can we get an undefeated week for the boys? I mean, we've been flirting. We've been flirting,
Yeah.
flirting so close these last couple of weeks here, especially in college. I'm gonna say all of them and go for a clean sweep. I'm putting it out in the air.
We
So
went
you're feeling warm and fuzzy
perfect
top to
3
bottom.
weeks ago. We
Oh,
went
there you
3-0.
go. Oh, that's 3-0. You're right. You're right. You're right.
But
Small
yeah,
slate didn't feel like
fuck
it.
it, let's do it again.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't get excited unless it's 5 now.
Doesn't get the juices flowing. Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, yeah, all these feel uncomfortable. They don't feel crazy though. They don't feel
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, the Minshew killer, or the BTB killer,
Yeah.
we're betting against Minshew. He looked pretty bad last week. I don't know.
Well, he didn't have enough time to be the BTB killer. Now
Yeah,
he's got
that's
a whole
true.
week of now he's got a
Yeah.
whole week of prep.
Yeah, Detroit.
Sharpen
I don't
his
know.
knife.
I mean, Buffalo really was able to move the ball on them. Basically, they covered an 8.5 point spread in the second half. So, what are you gonna if you can get a whole game from the Lions?
Right.
That team's got to be dejected. Now, unfortunately, I think we're getting Rudolph, not Levis. I'd feel super psyched if we were getting Levis. And then
Is that an injury situation still? I forget with him.
But yeah, it is. I mean, that's what they're telling us.
Technically,
He was,
okay.
yeah, he didn't suit up, but there's a shoulder injury. The Houston one's gross because we're basically kind of just it's a variant, it's a high variant spot. It is what, like I said, we talked about it before. Use all of his data, it makes it 5. You just use the non-rookie category stuff that we've developed. It makes that number. So, what are you going to get out of Stroud? Because we really haven't seen a world beater this season.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, Green Bay is sneaky one of the best offenses, becoming one of the best teams in the league. Their defense is actually improving, and their offense was one of the best last year, is now one of the best this year. So nice to get to potentially bet against a Jackson. This is like a revenge spot, Jacksonville, where maybe they obviously beat up on New England, but I think Green Bay should have a lot of success here.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're coming back from long stay in London. They were there 2 weeks, I think. So that'll be interesting. But I agree with you on Green Bay. Yeah, excited to see how they continue to piece that one together. Yeah, I guess I kind of feel the opposite of you, Seth. Like not too much of this feels that ugly, and that scares me. I find it interesting though that I mean, how much better from a power rating standpoint is Detroit to Buffalo, or how relative are they? I presume,
Buffalo?
yeah, Detroit to Buffalo. I presume the answer is not that much. And I ask only because, Titans again playing the Lions, who played Buffalo last week, who were catching 8.5 points in Buffalo, and now they're catching 10.5, 11 against the Lions. So
I don't have the best answer in the world for you, but Detroit is a full point better offensively than Buffalo, but about 2 points worse defensively.
Okay.
And
yeah,
just for
so
reference,
and on a net
Tennessee-
basis, not all that different, probably. So
yeah. They're like literally like the third and fifth team, basically.
right. Yeah, it's just really tough for me to. Again, this is my dumb brain talking, but really tough for me to. I get like where the value is coming from on all these. I guess is my broader point. Like a lot of it just. The data and the eye test are kind of aligned this week. So yeah, Steve, let's go, baby.
Can I be superstitious real quick?
Undefeated. Fuck,
yeah. I'm glad. The one I feel the best about, purely from the emotional reason, the Chiefs, because we talked about this earlier in the year, where I forgot which DB it was, but one of the Raiders defensive backs had that Kermit the Frog video go viral. Like,
that's right. Is this that first matchup then? Since then, right?
This is that first matchup. So listen, we know Mahomes has reason to win besides that, but I don't want to be on the wrong side of that. I don't want to take that chance.
You better post it so they see it, because I haven't seen that yet. We got to make sure that comes up.
Yeah, we got to get ahead of that. We got
to get them to see it.
Let's go.
We need to get this. Yeah. Taylor needs to post this on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Now we haven't really talked about alt season in NFL this year for good reason, but give me a narrative based alt, baby. Let's go
for Vegas versus KC. Yeah, but just historically, this is the spot that Vegas like somehow beats KC.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right on the money there, but. That was then. This is now.
But I guess the last time they played, Vegas beat.
They outright beat them. Yeah, they outright beat them. Yeah,
at home in KC.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't remember, where is this game.
This good question. This one is in Vegas. Yeah, but I mean, narratives aside, like again, I think top to bottom, I understand where the value is coming from. Like it's clear to see, in my opinion, this week. So. I feel good about it. We'll see. Maybe we'll go undefeated. Maybe we'll go defeated. Both are probable. Not probable. Both have a non-zero probability. Yes, for sure. All right, that'll do it for this weekend. Week 8 coming up, baby. Appreciate you guys being here, tuning in. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Helps us out tremendously. We like being here with you guys, doing this every week. So we'll continue to do so as long as you give us that feedback that it is useful and valuable to you guys. So I appreciate it, boys. It's been a good one. We will catch you all next week. Until then, good night, good luck. See ya.